After 2 weeks of intense legal battles and emotional upheaval, Taehyung's divorce from Jenna was finalized 2 days ago. The process had been grueling for both parties, but it was particularly challenging for Jenna. She had become accustomed to the lavish lifestyle she enjoyed as Taehyung's wife, relishing the financial security and social status that came with it. The end of this relationship meant not only the loss of her partner but also a significant shift in her way of life. Jenna's resistance to the divorce and her increasingly erratic behavior led to serious legal consequences. The court, already familiar with her volatile nature, had previously charged her with mistreatment of Taehyung's elderly grandmother. Reports of Jenna's aggressive and psychologically abusive actions towards the elderly woman had shocked many. Her behavior was described as increasingly unhinged, marked by outbursts of rage and manipulative schemes aimed at both Taehyung and his family. Given these circumstances, the court decided that Jenna required more than just legal repercussions. They mandated psychological evaluation and treatment, and recommended that she be sent to a specialized facility for mental health. The idea of placing her in an asylum was considered, but the court ultimately opted for a more structured approach, involving a comprehensive mental health program. This program would provide Jenna with the necessary therapy and support to address her issues, aiming to rehabilitate her rather than simply punishing her. As for Taehyung and YN, they got married today only. Meanwhile, Thv, Taehyung's ex, was struggling to move on with her life. The divorce had been a heavy blow, and she was doing her best to rebuild her sense of self and find a new direction. She was facing the challenge of redefining her life, grappling with the loss of her former lifestyle and the emotional turmoil of the breakup. As Taehyung and YN embraced their new beginning, Thv was slowly navigating the path of self-discovery and healing, trying to find peace and purpose in the wake of her past. Both of them entered the bedroom, the soft glow of the bedside lamps casting a warm and inviting light across the room. The scent of lavender from the candles they had lit earlier lingered in the air, creating a serene and intimate atmosphere. Taehyung closed the door behind them with a satisfied sigh, his shoulders relaxing as the day's stress seemed to melt away. Taehyung, finally, no stress, only me and my hot wife. YN glanced at him with a mix of amusement and skepticism, her eyebrow arching in playful suspicion. YN, is that so? Without waiting for her response, Taehyung moved toward her with a confident stride. He wrapped his arms around her waist, drawing her close to him. The warmth of his embrace was comforting and secure. Taehyung, thank you for coming into my life and making it beautiful. You are the best thing that's ever happened to me. I can't wait to spend my life with you, rising in business, rising in love, making a family, raising our kids, getting old together, and telling our grandchildren our love story. YN's eyes softened, but a teasing smile played on her lips. She looped her arms around his neck and rested her forehead against his, looking up at him with a mix of affection and mischief. YN, don't you think you're going too far with all this talk? Taehyung chuckled softly, his gaze never leaving hers. He gently stroked her back, his touch tender and reassuring. Taehyung, I want to go to so far with you. I want every moment with you to be a part of our incredible journey. He gazed deeply into her eyes, his voice filled with sincerity and hope. Taehyung, every step we take together, every dream we chase, every challenge we face, it's all part of the amazing story we're creating together. YN's expression melted with genuine affection. She leaned in a little closer, her voice soft but full of emotion. YN, and I'm ready for every adventure with you, no matter how far we go. Taehyung and YN stood close, the room's intimate ambience wrapping around them as they shared a moment of lightheartedness. Taehyung's eyes gleamed with mischief and excitement as he looked at YN. Taehyung, we should start with our first adventure. YN, and what is it? Taehyung's grin widened as he leaned in closer, his voice lowering to a playful whisper. Taehyung, bed-breaking adventure. YN's eyes widened, and she playfully slapped his shoulder, her face flushing slightly. YN, Taehyung. Behave. Taehyung chuckled, his arms still wrapped around her waist, pulling her closer. Taehyung, what do you mean, behave? I just want to break the bed with my wife. What's wrong with that? YN raised an eyebrow, a teasing smile curling on her lips. YN, your wife might end up broke, too. Taehyung's expression softened, and he held her even closer, his gaze full of affection and mischief. Taehyung, then we should take this slow. He leaned in, his breath warm against her ear, adding a playful edge to his words. Taehyung, after all, we have plenty of time for all our adventures. They both laughed, the room filled with their shared joy and anticipation for the future. The light-hearted banter was a perfect start to their new life together, setting the stage for the many adventures that lay ahead. The soft morning light filtered through the curtains, casting a gentle glow across the bedroom. Hwan stirred awake and quietly slipped out of bed, careful not to wake Taehyung, who was still deeply asleep, his chest rising and falling rhythmically with his steady breath. She padded softly to the bathroom to take a refreshing shower, the warm water helping her fully awaken and prepare for the day ahead. Wrapped in a fluffy towel, Hwan emerged from the bathroom, her damp hair cascading down her back. As she walked into the bedroom, she heard a knock on the door. She slipped on a robe and opened it to find Thv standing there with a mischievous grin on her face. Thv, sister-in-law? If you both are done with your tiredness, then please come down. Teasing, Hwan's cheeks flushed a deep shade of red, and she quickly tried to hide her embarrassment, her eyes widening. Hwan, Thv. What are you doing here? Thv laughed heartily, clearly enjoying Hwan's reaction. Thv.
Oh.
Blushy. You two must have had quite the night. Hwan gave her a playful yet controlled smile, trying to maintain her composure despite her embarrassment. Hwan, anyway, what's this about? Why do you need us to come down? Thv's grin widened as she continued. Thv, we're leaving. Come downstairs and see us off. Hwan raised an eyebrow, curiosity piqued. Hwan, what? But why? Thv, come down, and we'll tell you. Hwan nodded, still blushing. Thv, all right then, wake Appa up and come join us. Thv turned and headed downstairs, her laughter echoing faintly as she left. Hwan took a deep breath, feeling a mix of anticipation and excitement. She turned back to the bed, her eyes landing on Taehyung, who was still peacefully sleeping. With a playful glint in her eye, Hwan tiptoed over to the bed. She gently brushed her fingers through his tousled hair, her touch light and affectionate. Hwan, wake up, sleepyhead. Time to greet the day. She leaned in closer, pressing a soft, lingering kiss on his cheek, then another on his lips, her touch tender and loving. Taehyung stirred slightly, a sleepy smile spreading across his face as he felt her gentle caress. Taehyung. 5 more minutes. Hwan giggled, her heart fluttering at the sight of his sleepy, contented expression. Hwan, nope, not today. We have company and a surprise waiting for us downstairs. Time to wake up and see what's in store. Taehyung's eyes fluttered open, and he looked up at her with a mix of confusion and curiosity. His smile widened as he realized she was trying to coax him awake. Taehyung, all right. You win. I'm up. He stretched lazily and pulled Hwan back into a gentle hug, his arms wrapping around her as he nuzzled into her neck. Taehyung, you know, I think I could get used to waking up like this every day. Hwan laughed softly, her heart warming at his words. Hwan, well, you better get used to it. We have a day ahead, and I'm pretty sure it's going to be a memorable one. Hwan, well, you better get used to it. We have a day ahead, and I'm pretty sure it's going to be a memorable one, made their way downstairs, hand in hand, ready for the surprise and the day's adventures. Taehyung and Hwan made their way downstairs, still half-dressed and groggy from just waking up. They were greeted by a bustling scene. The Kim family had all their luggage packed and ready, their departure evident in the neatly organized bags by the door. Taehyung and Hwan exchanged puzzled looks, wondering what was happening. Grandma looked up with a warm smile, her eyes twinkling as she spotted them. Grandma.
Aww.
Good morning, the pretty couple. Taehyung, good morning. What is all this? Pointing at the luggage, Mr. Kim, who was busy making sure everything was in place, looked up with a hint of concern. Mr. Kim, Mom wants to leave. Hwan's brow furrowed with confusion. YN, why? Grandma, not missing a beat, answered with a hint of exasperation. Grandma, I don't like this city, and Taegu is Taegu. You both live here, we're okay, they're only. Taehyung, but so soon? At least stay for a few more days. Mrs. Kim stepped forward, her hands on her hips, looking both firm and resigned. Mrs. Kim, no, Tae, we've already been here for 2 weeks. It's time to leave. Grandma chimed in, her tone softening. Grandma, anyway, you both need some time alone. Both Taehyung and YN felt their faces heat up, their cheeks flushed with a mix of embarrassment and surprise. YN cleared her throat, trying to regain her composure. YN, it's so nice having everyone here. Couldn't we all stay like this a little longer? Grandma shook her head with a gentle smile. Grandma, no, child, I don't like it here. Taehyung, trying to make sense of the situation, turned to his grandmother with a concerned look. Taehyung, you'll leave us alone here? Grandma looked at him, her expression both knowing and affectionate. Grandma, huh? My Tae has been living here alone for years, and now you're not alone. You have a beautiful wife and a companion. Mrs. Kim added with a supportive hug around YN's shoulders. Mrs. Kim, exactly. We used to worry, but not anymore. Take care of yourself and this punk too, she playfully poked Taehyung. He is too careless, I tell you. YN laughed, her eyes sparkling with warmth as she replied. YN, I know, both laughed. The family shared heartfelt hugs, each embrace filled with love and good wishes. YN and Taehyung saw them off as they loaded the last of the bags into the car. As the car pulled away from the driveway, YN stood there, watching the vehicle disappear down the road. Her heart felt a pang of longing. YN, I'm gonna miss them. Taehyung came up beside her, wrapping his arm around her shoulders in a comforting side hug. Taehyung, we'll go to meet them every month. YN leaned into him, feeling his warmth. YN. It felt so good to live with family. Taehyung's voice was soft but filled with determination. Taehyung. They can't stay forever, but we'll make sure to visit them frequently. YN nodded, her thoughts reflecting the bittersweet feelings of the morning. Suddenly, Taehyung lifted her into his arms in a bridal carry, his grin wide and playful. Taehyung, let's make a family that will stay with us permanently. YN's cheeks flushed a deep pink, and she buried her face in the crook of his neck, overwhelmed by a mix of love and shyness. YN. Taehyung's arms held her securely, his eyes filled with love and excitement for their future together. As he carried her back inside, the promise of new beginnings and shared dreams filled the space around them, making the moment all the more special.